Alright guys, something a little funner today. A lesson in microphones. So this is going to have a lot of stuff in it, so hang on. Okay guys, so today's video is about something that I just got in the mail. This alien probe looking thing. This is the, see if you can read it. This is the Neewer NW81. Now, believe it or not, I got this for $20. Less than $20. It was like $18.99. Okay. That doesn't mean anything if it's not good, if it doesn't sound good. But what I want to do today is address a lot of misconceptions that I'm hearing around the internet and a lot of misconceptions people have. Now, for those of you that don't know, my background is in audio. I was in a band back in the 90s, doing sound reinforcement, doing audio reinforcement for live sound production for a lot of the other bands around town. I became kind of a snob when it came to audio back then, and so I'm really hoping that my advice is well received here. But we're going to talk about this, the NW81, and I don't want to get into just focusing on this. I want to talk about some of the misconceptions that are around it. First of all, let me get it straight out of the way that as far as this mic goes, regardless what else you've heard about it on the internet, the only thing that I can say is that for less than $20 that I picked this up at, this thing is the bomb. Wait for it. Okay. So this microphone, first of all, I want to address something. When you see a microphone of this size, people think, oh, that's a shotgun microphone. Shotgun microphones are not good, for studio use. They're very focused, they're task purposed, right? They're very directional for people and stuff like that. Okay, well, first of all, that's the first thing I want to address. This is not a shotgun microphone. And it kind of disturbs me when people call that. It's not marketed that way. Neewer doesn't put that on the box. They're not putting shotgun microphone. People think that because it's long, it's a shotgun microphone. And that has, the length of the microphone has nothing to do with whether or not it's a shotgun type microphone or not. This is simply a small diaphragm condenser microphone. Okay, this is the same type of idea, small diaphragm condenser, as this mic. This is an old Radio Shack, I don't know what this is. I don't know what the model number. This was a Radio Shack mic I picked up back in the 90s, and it was actually very good. It runs off of a AA battery, just like the Neewer. And I used this to record several acoustic guitar parts when I was younger. Great microphone. And I heard, I know that at least one of their models was manufactured by Shure. So, I mean, they had some pedigree behind their mics. A lot of people were talking, that, oh, it's Radio Shack, and they would get dismayed. But back then, the Radio Shack mics were really good, and I think more than one model was manufactured by Shure. So, this particular guy, I still have it, and it still works. So, small diaphragm condenser mic. It runs off of a AA battery. This is a small diaphragm condenser mic. It runs off of a AA battery. That is the same as, in more modern context, this guy. Okay, the MXL 991. Now, MXL has a lot of, they call them pencil mics, I think is what they call them now. MXL has a lot of these. Every manufacturer has quite a few of them, but these are great mics. You put these around a conference table or something to that effect, these are actually really great mics. Now, when it comes to vocals, a lot of people around the internet are like, oh, you need a large diaphragm condenser and blah, blah. And it's like, honestly, when it comes to that, when I'm watching a podcast, if I'm listening to a podcast, yes, please, get the best mic you can, have the best audio quality, because then at least when I'm listening to a podcast, you know, my mind is not trying to associate sight with sound. When I'm watching a video and watching somebody talk, and I see them stuck to a microphone where the large diaphragm condenser just simply is not matching the environment they're in, and it sounds unnatural for what I'm looking at and the environment they're in, I kind of get a little turned off by that. You know, it's like, oh, everybody would praise them. Oh, great sound quality. Well, if it was on radio. But there's a mental connection that people have with their brains that associate sight with sound. And, you know, to have all that rejection and have the artificial bass response picking up, you know, those kind of tones and things. Yes, it sounds great on the radio. It sounds great for a podcast. But a lot of times that just doesn't work very well when you're talking about a video where you're trying to associate the sight and sound. So for me personally, I actually prefer small diaphragm condensers in video environments. I prefer to have either shotgun or small diaphragm condensers. I think they sound much more natural. Everybody's saying, I was like, oh, pencil mics, they can't pick up below whatever it is, 100 hertz or something. Like, come on, people. What are you trying to pick up? Are you trying to pick up the vocal? Or, you know, anyway, let's get off of that. I want to address something about this. Why is this not a shotgun mic? The reason why, and you can do this at home. Now, I don't know if this is actually going to show up for you when I demonstrate here, but you can take a flashlight. Okay. Actually, let's do this side here. And I'm just going to see if maybe I can make this happen. Okay. If you shine a flashlight through here, what you're going to see is up here at the top is the capsule. They call it the capsule. That's the part that actually captures the sound. Okay. Now, if you look through here, what you're actually going to see inside that tube, once you get past the screen, what you're actually going to see is two wires. Okay. Two wires are connecting the capsule down to, you know, the electronics that actually produce the sound. So that's what's inside there. That's not a shotgun microphone. Okay, this is made to look like a shotgun microphone, but it's not a shotgun microphone. Now, something else to take into consideration. I don't know why this needs to be that long. I have no idea. Like I said, this is not a shotgun microphone. They can cut this thing down to this size and it's still going to sound the same. So, you know, I think there's a marketing tactic. They almost want people thinking it's a shotgun microphone. You know, but anyway, this is nothing more than a small diaphragm condenser. And again, by saying that, I'm not trying to detract at all from, you know, what it is. I'm not trying to detract from the sound quality and what I think about it, you know, because like I said, for $20, this thing, this thing's special. So let me talk about a real shotgun microphone. This, right, the AT875R from Audio-Technica. My favorite mic. This is my usual mic. I had to take it down. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. This video is being recorded. You can see the lapel. I'm recording this on the MOVO WMX-7, which will become a later video. So this video sound quality may or may not be up to my usual sound quality standards, but it's because I'm testing this mic. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. But anyway, back to this. The AT875R. This is an actual shotgun microphone. An actual shotgun microphone. And you can use the same test to validate what I'm saying, is that if you were to shine a flashlight through here, you'll see that this tube is empty. It has holes in it or vents, whatever you want to call them. It's empty until you get down here. And then you see that the capsule that connects the sound is actually down in this area of the mic. Okay, so when you're talking about microphones, a true shotgun microphone uses this kind of format, okay? And what it's doing is it's taking this area, and this area is called the interference tube. okay? The whole purpose of a shotgun mic is to direct the sound, try and magnify the sound that's coming from a specific distance, okay? And so you want to pick up sound very directionalized from a ways away, okay? And that's what this mic does, because it's a shotgun. The capsule's back here, and it utilizes this interference tube, and these ports are tuned, okay? Don't just think that they're cool looking vents on the side. Every manufacturer has different things. Some people do rings around it, some people do holes, whatever the case is. But the vents are there in order to help reject side noise. But that's what the interference tube does. So if you want to know what a shotgun mic is, that's really the definition of it, is this interference tube that's here. The capsule will be mounted, you know, further back into the thing, and you can get more directional the more you add on to the tube, you know. So with that out of the way, getting back to this guy, you know, again, the capsule that picks up the sound is at the top of this. Now they have this button on here for tele and normal? Yeah, normal and tele. Okay, well, what they want to imply is that they can focus the beam, right? They can focus it further, and it's kind of a misnomer. It's I don't think they can actually do that. The capsule is the capsule, and it's mounted at the top of the microphone. I think that's kind of a simplified version of what they're doing. What they're actually doing is they're boosting the volume, and then they're increasing the mid and high frequencies that they know are going to travel farther and are probably farther away, and they're boosting that. So this idea that it's somehow tailoring the beam and focusing it that I've heard about, I don't know that I could necessarily agree with that. I mean, I'd have to see some kind of documentation on that. You know, like I said, to me, you would almost need some form of shotgun format in order to make that happen. But just using the capsule in itself, I don't know what kind of capsule's in there, and it's not removable. It's not like I can take it out and look at it. But you know, I think that's, you know, I think that's what it is. I think it's kind of a pseudo beam focus, and the way they're doing it is by boosting the level and then increasing the mids and highs in order to be able to receive that from further away. That's what I think this button does. So anyway, but all that aside to say that whatever it does it well. Okay. I did a test video with this, and I was blown away with the sound. You know, again, keeping in mind it's a $20 mic. I don't want anybody sitting there trying to compare it to my 875 here, you know. Like, this guy for the price is the best bang for the buck. If you have the money and you're going to ask me, what should I buy, this or this, you know, it's the Audio-Technica all day long. I mean, this mic is absolutely amazing, and I think in a studio environment, it's hard to beat this for the price. I really do. It's hard to beat it. A lot of people will knock it for its low end lacking, whatever you call that, low end roll off. I was going to call it like low end lackiness or something. I don't know, but it really is. It's for the price. I've always been blown away with this mic. I've not had much of a call to upgrade it. I used to use a Zoom H5 with the shotgun capsule on it, and that used to be my go-to audio. And then when I got a hold of this sucker, the Zoom, just, you know, I sold it. I still have an H6 that I use for remote purposes. But, you know, in the studio, this guy, I have a hard time being... You couple this with a good preamp like the Beach Tech, you know, this thing is... You know, I can't sing this thing's praises enough. And like I said, a lot of people don't think it has enough low end to it. You know, but again, this is a purpose-driven mic. It is a shotgun mic, and it is intended for boom pole use, studio kind of usage. And a lot of times having, you know, amplified low-end rumble and, you know, things, when you start getting down below 60 hertz, things like that, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense in a purpose-driven mic, which is going to be for vocal quality. And so for my purposes, you know, it's like it doesn't need that low end. What it does and the audio it picks up, this, you know, like I said, this is my usual mic, and I don't see myself going away from it anytime too soon. It works great for what it is, and this is a shotgun mic. But so I don't want to take away from small diaphragm condensers. They work just as well, and a lot of times when people use them, they may be using them inappropriately. right? So with a small diaphragm condenser, you know, what do? They point it at their mouths, you know, from wherever it is. You know, they get it as close, pointed at their mouth as they can. And that's not what you want to do. That's not the purpose of a small diaphragm condenser. What you want to do is get that thing over your head, out of shot. That's why when you look at framing on shots, you know, like you don't see a whole lot. You know, if a person was to turn their hand to the side, you probably won't even see their hand in the frame. They want to get up closer to the shot, and the reason they do that is so that they can get the mic lower and get it out of frame and get it closer to where they're at. That's how a lot of these interviews are done. So if you do that, the best way to mic a person is not pointing the mic straight at their mouth, it's get it on top of them and point it more kind of towards, you know, the chin/chest area. Point it into this area. And that does several things. One, it's going to avoid the plosives of people, you know, talking into the mic, you know, and getting rambunctious and, you know, having those sounds come out and blow the mic out. So that's one thing that it's going to do, you know. But the other is that a lot of people actually don't realize they have a lot of ambiance that, you know, and rumble that comes from the chest and the throat area. Okay. Your voice doesn't simply come out of your mouth. If you feel your throat when you talk, it's vibrating. Okay, it's making. I mean, the whole thing is vibrating. So this is part of your voice down here. Sorry, I forgot I was wearing a lapel. Sorry about that. Again, I'm testing the lapel. But if you're down here, you know, that's vibrating as well. You're getting some low end out of there. So that's the reason why you don't just simply point at the mouth and think that you're good and try and get it as close to the mouth as possible. No, it's like get it over the head and kind of point it where people are talking past the mic, but so that it can also pick up some of the ambience, some of the rumble that's coming out of there. That's, you know, things that you don't really learn a lot about on some of the internet tutorials and what they're talking about. But if you're trying to do studio setup, such as like what I'm doing here, and again, this is a bad example because I'm testing this lapel mic right now, so I can't really demonstrate what it is that I'm talking about. But that's kind of the trick. That's what you're after. You know, that's why small diaphragm condensers and shotguns, you know, it depends on your environment, are excellent tools for that job. I don't really care for, you know, people trying to use their podcast mic in that kind of scenario. It's like in some cases with some people it may help their voice sound good, but again, I get kind of disconnected if I see an environment and the sound pickup I'm looking at doesn't match that environment too well. I would much rather have clear. I'm not saying not clear sound. I'm saying I want clear sound, but I want it to sound natural as well. Okay, so I do want to hear what I'm looking at, but you know, I want the sound to match the environment. That's just who I am. It's a personal preference. But you know, like I said, when I'm listening to radio, it's a whole different thing. You're disconnecting sight from sound at that point. And I want the best sound that I can get. You know, so for voiceover, it makes sense. You know, for audiobooks and things like that. But anyway, so in conclusion, you know, I'll try and get some sound samples out of this, but, you know, I tested it out. I actually ordered another one for $20, having it as a backup. You know, this is, you know, this is pretty amazing for $20. Like I say, it's a little ridiculous making it 14 inches long. It's not necessary. If you know a welder, just have them cut that, weld it back, you know, and take a few inches out of it. No, I'm kidding. You know, But it really is for a AA battery powered, you know, and I have no problem with that. You know, it's not like you're going to get better sound out of phantom power. That's not really where your sound comes from. But, you know, in the past, I've used many AA powered batteries as condensers. I'm sorry, AA battery powered microphones as condensers. You know, these Radio Shacks being some. And like I said, they've recorded very well back in the day. You know, and of course now I'm looking for other things, trying to keep up, you know, with new technology and stuff. But anyway, you heard it here first. The difference between an actual shotgun and a small diaphragm condenser. Don't fear the small diaphragm condenser. They have purpose in a lot of areas, so don't fear it. And I hope this information was useful.